everyone, Reaper here with another comic book haul. I believe with comic book haul number 9. The past few weeks I managed to pick up a couple good books, a few major keys, or at least I think major keys. Definitely ones I needed for my collection, and ones that I might have seen in some of your videos out there. So let me start off with couple recent pickups, new books that came out within the last few weeks, maybe, but actually like within the past month. That would be more accurate. Outcast number 6. I'm a fan of this series. I have the first few issues, and I'm missing like maybe one or two of them. But yeah, this is a new series by Kirkman. And it's pretty intense, and I've grown to really enjoy it. At my local comic book store, I even went so far to have the guy put aside every time new Outcast comes out, to put aside the new issue for me. So it's definitely worth checking out. So issue number 6. I also managed to pick up the most recent issue, number 7. And another recent book that came out, Bloodshot Reborn number 1. I have other, this is like one of like many covers. I'm just too lazy to dig the other covers out. And also, I haven't been able to board and bag them yet. But this is Bloodshot Reborn. Recently, Bloodshot seems to have been gaining some steam out there in the comic book world. So I would say this is definitely a character from Valiant that you should really keep your eyes on. The first issue, really cool book, cool story. So it's definitely worth picking up. With that being said, I have here Eternal Warrior number 4 and Rye number 0. Continuing with Bloodshot, he makes his cameo appearance in Eternal Warrior number 4 on the last page, and he makes his full appearance in Rye number 0. I remember in the early 90s when these books were coming out, Valiant was putting out their own books. They were really popular. They were very popular for a long time. Then as time went on, I guess they sort of, faded away, not necessarily into obscurity, but just moved out of the, the comic book collector eye for a period of time. But now that Bloodshot's, I heard that there might be a movie or something like that. But now that Bloodshot's really, all the Valiant characters are really coming back. But with Bloodshot seems to be in the lead, these are definitely two books that are relatively cheap right now that I would look into getting if you don't already have them. Moving right along, a book I've wanted for a while and just recently been able to pick up, Punisher number 1 in his 4-issue limited series. Cool book. I always loved the cover. And here's some other books I managed to get. Not necessarily key, not all of them at least, but books that were missing from my set. Primer number 1. Now, those of you that watched my videos, you know I have Primer number 2 and number 5. Those are the really key books in the first Primer series, the first appearance of Grendel and the Max, respectively. But I've always wanted to get the rest of the Primer books. So I got Primer number 1, Primer number 3, Primer number 4. Oh, for a moment I thought you were getting glare. No, it's just the actual art. And I'm just going to take these out of here. And Primer number 6. This is the first appearance of Evangeline. I would say out of the 6 Kamiko Primer books, this is probably the 3rd most important, with Grendel being the first important and Max being the 2nd. So it's not a very expensive book. What I didn't know, I read the book, I read the issue, and here it's one story was drawn by Neil Vokes. I was fortunate enough to have met and actually back 10 years ago go see the movie Sin City with Neil Vokes and Mike Oeming, the guy that drew Powers for a long period of time. He used to live in Bordentown. I live in New Jersey, and he used to live in Bordentown about 10 years ago. And one of my comic book friends, who's an illustrator, he worked on a book called Blood River with Mike back in 2004. We all got together and went to go see Sin City together. But that was when I first met Neil, and I did not know that he was involved in drawing this book. So it was pretty cool. You know, I wanted the first appearance of Angeline, but then I saw that Neil actually drew one of the stories here. It was a nice surprise. Okay, moving along. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man number 107. This is the first appearance of the Sin Eater, and I believe this kicked off that Who Killed Jean DeWolf storyline. Cool cover with this one, Web of Spider-Man number 18. This is the, according to the guide, it's the first appearance of Eddie Brock. You don't actually see Eddie Brock. You see Eddie Brock's hands pushing Spider-Man off this ledge right before a subway train. But this is credited as the first appearance of Eddie Brock. Marvel Team Up 141. Now this one was a stealth buy for me. I went to a local comic book store and I was just, you know, looking through, believe it or not, Action Comics. And somewhere mixed in with Action Comics, I found this. And it was marked at $3. So I don't know if the store, the owner knew what he had. And I also don't know if somebody purposely hid the book there to come back and buy it later. But I was fortunate enough to have found it. And this was the last issue I needed when it comes to the black costume. I've had for the longest time Secret Wars 8 and Amazing Spider-Man 252, but I didn't have this one. You know, the trilogy of the debut of the black costume. So it was pretty cool. It was a really cool find. I wasn't looking for it, but when I saw it, I was like, hey, I think that's the one I need, and it was. Another book that I'm sure is going to be picking up steam, Ultimate Fallout number 4, which is the first appearance of Miles Morales, who I'm not quite sure if he's going to be taking over as Spider-Man, because I know Marvel's ending their Ultimate series. You know, nothing against Miles Morales. I just don't see him as Spider-Man. You know, I was at an event over the weekend, comic book fans and so forth, and I was talking to a guy, and I was asking him, well, do you read any Marvel books? And he said, well, not really. Marvel's losing me. And I asked him, how come? And he said, well, a lot of the Marvel characters that I grew up with are no longer in the spotlight anymore. Characters like Captain America, Steve Rogers, and now the new Captain America is Falcon, and he said also Miles Morales. You know, he says he doesn't know, and I don't know if they're actually Marvel, they being they, is actually going to have Miles Morales replace Spider-Man, but I don't know. I feel the same way this guy, you know, the guy I was talking to. It's just, you know, Miles Morales, although an interesting character, you know, Peter Parker's been around for 50 years. He's got a lot more stories. He obviously has that advantage over Miles Morales, but I guess I will always see Peter Parker as Spider-Man, just the way I'll always see Clark Kent as Superman and Bruce Wayne as Batman. And I think when, you know, the creators try to change that formula, I mean, it's always good to change things up every now and then. It keeps things interesting. But when stuff like that, it's almost like canon, that Bruce Wayne is Batman, Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and Clark Kent is Superman. When that formula is changed up, it's not always for the best. That's just my opinion. I know some of you may not agree, and that's cool. But that's just my opinion on Miles Morales and the whole Spider-Man thing with him. And my last Spider-Man book to show off. Amazing 569. I believe this is the variant cover, but this is the genuine first appearance of Anti-Venom. I don't have the Flash Thompson as Venom, I believe as Venom story. Yeah, that's another book I'd like to get. But yeah, I've been trying to get the first appearance of Anti-Venom for a while, and this is a cool cover. I always thought this was a pretty cool cover, and I was finally able to pick it up and add it to my collection. Okay, moving along now. Batman, the New 52, number 37. I picked this book up because I thought the cover was awesome. It's not because I read the New 52, although if you read the New 52, that's cool. But I thought, any Batman book or DC book with the Joker on it is definitely worth picking up. And I thought that this cover right here is just absolutely awesome. A really, really cool cover and really cool rendition of the Joker. Okay. Once again, I'm not going in order. I got a couple Batman books, but I jumped from high numbers to low numbers back and forth, so don't mind me. Batman 535. This is a book that I think everyone should be paying attention to. It's the first appearance of the Ogre. And for those of you that follow the TV series Gotham, last week the Ogre showed up on an episode. So any first appearance that's affordable that you can get in Batman is worth getting. But definitely keep your eyes peeled for 535. I believe you could still stealth buy this. I stealth bought it, or at least I think I did. I only paid like $1.50 for it, so. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for this one. It's definitely worth picking up. Okay, Batman 258. This is the first appearance of Arkham Asylum, or I believe in this book it was referred to as the hospital. I don't think it was officially called Arkham Asylum until number 260, 2 issues later. I got this book for a really good price. It's in pretty good shape. It wasn't until after I bought it I noticed it had some sort of date stamp or whatever up here. And I said in previous videos that, I would never buy a book with a date stamp. Well, I wasn't paying attention. And then I noticed it after I bought it. But that being said, it's actually grown on me. Now, I'm not out there looking to buy any more books with date stamps. I just don't like that because my eyes tend to gravitate to it. For some reason, though, with this one, I guess I just didn't see it or I wasn't paying attention. But it actually has grown on me. I don't think of it as a big defect as I once thought. So, as I was saying earlier about change, not all change is bad. So, I guess I changed a bit. But yeah, it's a really cool book. Definitely one of the keys I needed. First appearance of Arkham Asylum. I had the opportunity to purchase it, I think last year, but I turned it down because I didn't like the price. I thought it was a little overpriced, the dealer was selling it for. But yeah, was able to get this at a price that I like. Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Moon Knight number 55. This book I've wanted for 20 years. I remember when this book first came out and Stephen Platt was the next big artist who eventually went to Image after Moon Knight ended here. I remember collecting the Wizard magazines, and this was always one of the hot books, one of the top 10 hot books that Wizard magazine kept putting out month after month. I thought the cover was really cool, and I still think the cover is pretty cool, but I don't know. Even despite that, I'm having a hard time figuring out what exactly is going on in this cover. I guess it looks like Moon Knight is being shredded or something. Like I said, although I think the cover's cool and everything, and it was definitely a book that I've wanted for many, many years, sometimes with some of these artists, I just have a hard time figuring out what the hell's going on. But it's still visually appealing. But definitely a book I was very happy to get, a book I've wanted for a really, real long time. Okay, next two books, I'll show them at the same time. Marvel Premiere numbers 47 and 48. This is the first, this one, number 47, as some of you probably already know. This is the first time Scott Lang takes up the mantle as Ant-Man. Scott Lang appeared, I think, not too long before this in Avengers 181. That's a book I still need to get. But with the new movie coming out, and with the new movie having Scott Lang as Ant-Man, this is definitely a book to pick up. The reason why I have both of them is because this came as a package deal. They came together. So, what the hell. Normally I would just get this one, but 48 included, not bad. Pretty cool book, and definitely glad to have added it to my collection. Both of them. Alright, we're winding down now. Now I've saved the best, some of the best for last. Another book I was really happy to get. Walking Dead number 10. This is the first appearance of Herschel, Maggie, and a bunch of other characters that I really don't know. All those characters that were living on the farm with Herschel, except for Otis. Otis showed up in issue 9. But yeah, this was definitely a book I wanted to get for a while. When I went to the New York Comic-Con back in October, I had the opportunity to purchase this, but I felt that the dealer wanted way too much. He wanted like $80 for it, and that is just way overpriced. And yeah, I really, you gotta really watch with some of these books out there because of the TV show, Walking Dead. Dealers are going to try to charge, and even dealers and sellers on eBay are going to try to charge a lot of money for specific issues, you know. Sometimes it's best to wait, and I got this for a really good price. I didn't get this for anywhere near $80. So sometimes patience pays off, you know. You just got to be willing to say no to some books and be okay with that. And this was an example of that for me. Walking Dead number 53, the first appearance of Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita. 3 more characters that are currently on the TV show that are important, part of the main cast. And another key book I needed in my Walking Dead collection. My Walking Dead collection's been coming along nicely. There's still a few more key books I need. But a lot of the characters, important characters, I was able to pick up. So I'm really happy with that. Cool book. This is another one that's been going up in price. I remember another, like, the same thing with number 10 here. You just gotta be willing to wait on some of these books because Abraham and Eugene and Rosita, they are currently on the show. Dealers are gonna try to charge you an arm and a leg for them, but sometimes it's best to wait. I was fortunate enough to have a window to pick this up at what I thought was a more fair price. So just try to keep that in mind for some of you new collectors out there. You know, these books are not going to go up so much money in the next few months and so forth. So if you can wait and just see if it just cools down a bit, it might be worth it. My last Walking Dead book for this video, Walking Dead number 61. This is the first appearance of Father Gabriel. Yet again, another character that has become part of the main cast this season. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Father Gabriel, but definitely a key book. One of the few key books that I still needed, that I needed. I only need a few more. I do need the first appearance of Otis and Walking Dead numbers 2 and 3, which have several key characters. But other than that, I got everybody else. But yeah, this is definitely a good book to get. But yet again, just be patient. And this is another book that's really starting to fetch close to, well, it's fetching anywhere between $70 to $100. I think that's way too much, but I don't know. A lot of these Walking Dead books are expensive, so just maybe be willing to wait But if you see it for a good price, go for it. This is all just my opinion. If you want to pay whatever you want to pay, remember, a comic book is worth as much as you're willing to pay for it. If you want to pay, X amount of dollars, go right ahead. But just my opinion that, sometimes it's just worth the wait, And the last book for this haul that I've been meaning to get for a while, All-Star Western number 10, the first appearance of Jonah Hex. Now, I know Jonah Hex may not necessarily be a, big star character. His movie, which came out several years ago, bombed. It sucked. It was horrible and all that. But Jonah Hex is still part of the DC family and still one of their main characters. So I like Jonah Hex. I like the whole cowboy Western type thing. And Jonah Hex is pretty cool. And definitely, All-Star Western number 10, definitely a book that you should be looking out for if you could get it cheap. And you could pretty much find this book somewhat cheap. I think on the eBay it's fetching anywhere probably over $200, which I think is a little too much for a character that had a movie come out and bomb. So if you are definitely looking for key DC issues, I would say this is definitely one to pick, and you'd be willing to wheel and deal if you could with some dealers on it. I wouldn't spend too much on this issue or any other issue. So just keep that in mind. Well, once again, this is the end of my comic book haul. I appreciate you taking the time out to watch, and I'd like to thank you all for really watching my last video, which was my top 25 key books in my collection. Really appreciate that. I wanted to do that video because I wanted to showcase some books that I've had in my collection for years, not just books that I'm picking up every few months. I wanted you to see that I had X-Men number 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 129 and so forth, because normally they would never be featured in a video. But I'm already working on some books for Comic Book Haul 10 that should be out in June, and that comes after there's another convention coming up here in Jersey, the Atlantic City Comic Con, that I plan to go to that, and pretty sure the June comic book haul video will have some books from that convention. Once again, thanks again. If you have any comments, please leave them. I very much enjoy reading your comments. And thanks again, and good night.